Hi, everyone. On this 1,871 days, let's see if everything is working. I'm coming on just a little bit earlier. My goal is always 10 o'clock. That doesn't seem to happen. 1,870 days. Okay. Thought it was 1,871, but okay, let's go with this. 1,870 days since Richard. It's a lot of days, y'all. It's a lot of days, right? It's a lot of days doing this, um, day in and day out. And that's why, that's what it takes. That's what it takes when the system is so broken. And this corroborates the length of this time, corroborates everything that we're saying, right? Because um, not only are we coming on day in and day out, that proves that we are working all the time to move our son's case forward, but we have now the letters from President Trump that proves that we're moving our son's case forward. We have um, the in the line of duty uh, corroboration that we have been moving our sons forward. And so that means that all proves that behind the scenes, we are filing our investigative findings, that we are getting hard evidence that cannot be denied, that is moving our son's case forward. And the next step is getting our son's remains and then getting accountability for those who did this. And it's really breaking. I mean, right now, the whole Mormon faction has exploded open. Okay, something that was sealed for a long time is no longer sealed. Something that was a secret, like a secret box or whatever that you weren't allowed to open, is now blown open. Blown open. So let's get into this so I can explain it to everybody. And thank you so much, Anicia, for coming on. And thank God I could come on a little bit earlier because it has been so busy with all of the information coming forward. Today is September 15th, 2025, and we're working diligently behind the scenes. And I want to say this right now, with the information, the intelligence that we're getting, we're working behind the scenes to keep President Trump safe. Okay, President Trump is our president of the United States. Uh, you know, we have to keep him safe. We need to be a law abiding country. We need to respect our democratic votes. We need to, anybody that is violent, that wants to carry out assassinations, that want to carry out murders, like in the case of our son, of a U.S. Army soldier on a military base by the very individuals that are entrusted to take care of Richard. This is why we're revisiting DES Thomas Kane, because we know that he's Mormon. We know that he is part of this Mormon faction. We know that he failed and he failed again and he failed and failed again. And we know that he was compromised, and we know he had conflicts of interest through his extramarital affairs. We know that he had conflicts of interest working for Park University while he was the director of emergency services for Fort Bliss. We know, that he absolutely failed to do his job when it comes to securing the military installation because of the 14-year-old girl that was living in the barracks for 4 months, compromising our soldiers. And, you can say what you have to understand that this is a for the big guys, okay? For those that want to make money out of all of this. Um, this is a business. This is an absolute business. And they're doing business illegally. They're engaging in criminal activity. And they then use part of their proceeds to buy people out. They use the loyalties, um, and then they compromise others. They compromise others, and soldiers that come in from all over the country. And in Richard's case, he was coming across the seas. He was coming to the United States to serve his country from Ireland. Right? We had a home in Ireland, and he joined from Korea. Um, and so he was coming from a long distance to Fort Bliss to serve his country. And you know, the criminals use Fort Bliss um, as their overhead, right? They use taxpayer funded facilities, fuel, assets for their overhead so that they can have just clear profit. And not only that, they also traffic the assets on Fort Bliss and the fuel. That has been absolutely confirmed. And, it gets a little scary because, it's weapons and ammunition, but it's also explosives. And we know with the technology being so good with the drones and ADA, air defense artillery, absolutely use drones, and not little drones that you get in your little suitcase and you can fly around. No, these are big drones, big drones that can carry payloads of explosives, of missiles. And this is very very concerning that we have such an infiltration of this criminal faction, and that is led by a Mormon faction that is partnered with cartel FTOs and other foreign and domestic enemies to carry on their business, their illegal business, their unlawful business. And so um, they have to compromise the soldiers that are coming in because they use Fort Bliss as uh, their warehouse, right? And so you can see things, you can know things. And we know that Richard's unit was connected to the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting. And we know that Richard was um, uh, whistleblowing to the Child Protective Services and many, many other agencies. And so, they don't want that. They don't want any soldier that takes seriously their commitment, their oath. They want to compromise them just in case they get an idea of patriotism in them. They want to compromise them. But Richard couldn't be compromised. He wasn't compromised. But DES did his darndest by allowing a 14-year-old girl to live in the barracks, and that was a stepdaughter of one of his gate guards. And for 4 months, and they videotape this. They videotape it, and they make money off of it. She was you know used and abused, sold, used and abused. And then of course we know that they brought in girls, and DES Thomas Kane gave them the passes to get on Fort Bliss during the lockdown. He approved that, which would compromise the soldiers so they couldn't speak out, so they couldn't become whistleblowers. This is very important for people to understand. This is absolutely targeting our young people, the same young people that Charlie Kirk was reaching out to set their minds free, to set their captive minds free, to instill in them um, a strength and a courage to resist the traps of these demons that are absolutely criminal cartel Mormon faction. So this is really important to understand the connection between what Charlie Kirk was doing, why they hated him, what President Trump is doing, why they hate him, and what Richard Halliday was doing, and why they hate him. And this is why we have to act. We cannot tolerate this any longer. We have to keep President Trump safe. Okay? Look at what they did to Charlie Kirk. Look at what they did to our son, Richard Halliday. They will do anything to keep that border open, to keep their power to uh, commit these egregious crimes with impunity, to keep their system in place, because they have built this system over decades. They have carefully built this system and profited off of this system illegally for decades. And we know this because my dad was ADA. We know this because I was born on White Sands Missile Range. I was born on the range, not in El Paso at William Beaumont. Okay, I was born on the range, White Sands Missile Range, Donna Ana County, New Mexico. That's where I was born. So we have the connections. We absolutely know because my parents belonged to the German American Club. We know the German connections there. Okay, we know the German officer connections there. That's why who killed Alexander Gerhard Hofmann, and what was he up to? And what was he up to? We know there are long connections there, and we now absolutely know, after all these years, and I've been saying it from very early on, that there's a common denominator, that there's this Mormon faction going on. And now with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it's been blown open, hasn't it? It has been blown open. And a peer of Woody Hunt, because we're at Woody Hunt's level, we understand we have the hard evidence that absolutely confirms that he is up to no good. You don't have a El Paso County in the condition that it is in: broken judicial system, a impersonating judges, criminal law magistrate court, illegal DAs that are usurpers, Michael Mayella working in the federal courthouse, being the family of Patrick Crucius, um, an illegal medical examiner, not any medical examiner, the chief medical examiner, earning almost $500,000 a year, that is illegally in this country and unqualified for that position. A compromised and very corrupt uh, 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 county clerk Delia Briones, right? Delia Briones, very corrupt. So it makes it handy when you have a cartel connected. They're all cartel connected. And I want to say a cartel connected chief of police that's unqualified, that got the job as a few days after the Walmart without even a peacekeeper's license, El Paso ISD Chief of Police Manny Chavira, who targeted Richard, and the media that is absolutely bias, and violating their 501c3 and absolutely in the pocket of Woody Hunt, because El Paso Matters, who leads the news cycle in El Paso, is the parent company is El Paso Community Foundation, which is Woody Hunt. And there's much more that we have, hard evidence. And sometimes I know my posts get very long because we're trying to be so transparent and so honest with everybody and let them know, educate everybody about what we're learning. That is jaw dropping, absolutely jaw dropping, to know that this Woody Hunt Mormon faction leader with the cartels, y'all, and foreign and domestic enemies, is absolutely up to no good, engaging in criminal activity, transnational, across the border, because the the temple that they would go to in Juarez is in Juarez. It's across the border. His loyalty is to that temple in Juarez. And so this is why Juarez is such a mess. We have 700 executions in Juarez this year alone. 700. Name me one American city that has that. 700 executions in this year. It's September 15th, 2025. This is not like car accidents, okay? It's brutal. It's a civil war. It's a civil war, Sinaloa cartel civil war. Um, and so, this is why it's such a mess, to empower the narco state, with your money, to fund the narco state with your money, to make deals. And we have it confirmed that Woody Hunt was making deals with Soros. Um, he has everything, all the motive to keep that border open no matter what. And that's his problem. And he's never satisfied. Here he is, a billionaire, and he's not ever satisfied. And maybe he should revisit. Well, I don't know. The whole Mormon faction is so corrupt. He needs to get out of it. Get out of it. Um, um, but the evil deeds uh, have been done. And he is absolutely the peer of Twigs, right? Twigs up in the beautiful city up in Utah, St. George. I think it's St. George. Um, and I heard it's like the fastest growing city in the United States. It's very beautiful. I've been to Utah. I've been to Salt Lake City. I've taken the Mormon tour. I have done that. I was by myself doing that because my husband was in a physician assistant conference there in Salt Lake City, and I tagged along because the kids were with the grandparents. And I was like, well, I'll tag along with you for a couple days. And I just walked Salt Lake City. Um, and we drove around whenever he had free time around that area in Utah. It's absolutely beautiful, but they have a problem. And it's called, um, criminal activity. It's very plain to see right now when you go there. It's very plain to see in El Paso, this cartel criminal activity. And Charlie Kirk went to the number one populated, Mormon populated university, the Utah Valley University. Almost, well, over 80% are Mormon there. And that's why he said, I love Mormons. I love Mormons. Almost half of my, and this was a little red flag to me. Um, and I hope the FBI are looking into it. But he said almost half of my staff are Mormons, right? Because I hope not one of the Mormon faction people snuck in and did some harm in this whole assassination of Charlie Kirk, because he was absolutely addressing the Mormon youth. And it seems like the leaders of this Mormon faction want them to be confused, want them to be very, very confused, and want them to be deceived. And we know from over 5 years, it's all about deception, all about deception. Let's see if I move over a little. So, put my desk down a little bit. Um, so yes, it is. Oh, I have something here. I have a friend here. I have a friend here today. Let me see if I can put him up here. There he is. See if I can get him. This was a gift like in 2016, and we moved our office. Good people don't go into government. I'm the smartest guy I know. Don't touch the hair. I'm gonna build a wall. Make America great again. What's better than this? What's better than this? Two of them. Two of them. That's what's better. Make America great again. So, and okay, we have to have some humor in all of this, but it's very, very serious, and there's so much grieving going on, and I haven't forgotten about uh, all the grieving. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's perpetual grieving, but we have to be strong, and we have to, as President Trump says, we have to viciously um, defend him. We need to viciously defend President Trump because um, look at what they did. Look at what they did to Charlie Kirk right in front of our eyes, and look at what they did to Richard in in the dark, in the hidden, right? And it's you know there's so much at stake that we absolutely have to put on the full armor of God and move forward like Saint Michael, like Saint Michael. And remember that Saint Michael has a host of angels. He's not alone, but also that uh, the demon, Satan also has his minions. And so we have to absolutely viciously um, confront this evil and not do the kumbaya. I think that Steve Bannon was absolutely right in this. I know that the media is attacking because of Governor Cox, but Governor Cox is going to defend the Mormon faction, okay? And there's a lot of nonsense going on in this whole investigation up in Utah. I can't even imagine what from what we've been through and what we know that happens in investigations and all of the tampering and all of the obstruction, and the psyops, the asymmetric warfare tactics going on. Those that you think are your allies, those that are you think work for you, that they are betrayers, they are deceivers, and they will absolutely tamper with evidence. They will absolutely obstruct the investigation, and information is coming out that that's going on. And of course, Woody Hunt is a billionaire. He's a billionaire, and his peers, like Twigs. Lance Twigs is from well, his family is a peer to Woody Hunt. That should tell you something. They're their little vast empire up there in that beautiful land um, is up to no good, and we know it's up to no good because Lance Twigs is up to no good, and we know that Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassin, did not work by himself. No lone wolf. And they always try to do the same playbook like they did in the Walmart mass shooting, the lone wolf shooter, and no one is behind them, and all of that. No, they have uh, huge ownership and investment in mental health, in hospitals, in media, in y'all, in so much in sports and everything. Go look at um, their financials and what they do. It's just really something. It's eye-opening. It tells you what they're doing, and we know that Patrick Crucius's father was all into this um, psychological, mental health research. And we know that Lorraine Mayella was in mental health. And so, you know, they absolutely know how to do deception. That's what I'm saying. And what they've done to Lance and what they've done to Tyler, and so young and living in the 800 a month, no, 1800 a month, 3 bedroom residence. Uh, Look, for these two boys, young men, whatever you want to, subhuman, subhuman. Look at what they did to Charlie Kirk. Um, they 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 were funded. They were funded and more and more. They did not act alone. And the same thing with Patrick Crusius. You can just watch Patrick Crusius for one little minute with open eyes, and you know that he did not work alone, that he could not think for himself or take care of himself. Or where did he get the money? He had an empty cup, right? So if you had an empty cup, where did the money come from? And the same thing with these two subhumans, I want to call them, because uh, Michael Savage. That's what Michael Savage. That was amazing podcast by Michael Savage. You don't have to agree with everything he says, but he is authentic, right? He is an authentic speaker. Um, so yeah, he calls them subhumans. So but they did not work on their own. And we know that the funding came from the peer of Woody Hunt, of Woody Hunt. So a peer like Woody Hunt, and we know that Woody Hunt, absolutely, all evidence confirms that he's up to no good. He could absolutely have made El Paso paradise. But that's not what happened. You have evidence of the complete opposite. So, uh, the next thing I want to talk about is, and I'm getting lots of messages. The next thing I want to talk about is John Bolton and John Kelly. So, General John Kelly and John Bolton, that is heating up, and information is coming out about the raid. And I I I want to make sure that everyone knows that this is not separate from our son's case, okay? This is absolutely connected to our son's case. And these documents, it's not just about the documents. When you know that John Kelly, when he uh, left betraying the United States by betraying President Trump in his first administration and went to go work with Sinaloa cartel. It's confirmed. It's confirmed. Pan Party Sinaloa cartel governor Maru Campos, the narco politician. What happened after that? Um, John Kelly's company um, was in the business of providing for camps for unaccompanied minors, right? That's what they, taking children, right? Hundreds of thousands of them. And he was profiting off of that. He was profiting off of the crisis. He was profiting off of the chaos. And he went to go work for the FTO uh, compromised narco politician Governor Maru Campos, which is so illegal, y'all. And John Bolton came to bat for John Kelly. And absolutely, you don't, when you're national security advisor, you don't do that. That is such a breach of national security. And uh, the evidence that they are finding um, because of the raid into John Kelly's home is very, very important. I mean, John Bolton's home is very important to our son's case. Very important. Richard's case it's really a huge priority. Okay, it's a huge priority. And, so this is because when you have this kind of criminal trafficking by FTOs and even foreign and domestic enemies of the United States, to the level that it is, that reaches all the way up into Utah, that reaches all the way to Memphis. This is why President Trump is going to Memphis now, because Memphis is the FedEx, right? The FedEx hub, and it is the artery of El Paso. El Paso is the epicenter. El Paso is the heart, and Memphis is the artery. So it's very, very important to understand he's going to Memphis. He's getting cooperation there. And then he wants to go to Chicago. Chicago is an ancient city, y'all. It's one of the most ancient cities in the United States. There is so much there. There's so much there. And we have to save it. We have to save our country. We have to save our country. And so this is, we absolutely understand what President Trump is doing. We know that this Mormon faction is very difficult when every word that the media is not on your side. So it's amazing that Steve Bannon is coming out and saying it at this point. It is really amazing, and he is. But President Trump has to be very, very careful because we need to keep him safe. We need to keep him safe. But his actions, look at his actions. They are absolutely amazing. He is absolutely going after them viciously, legally in a very vicious way, because uh, they are very violent. And any criminal faction that will take children and traffic them through our military base while compromising our service members, hundreds of thousands of them, are what Michael Savage calls subhuman, is absolutely right. Is absolutely right. So we can't play their games anymore. Um, Christians are very tolerant people. Uh, they don't think the worst of people. They want to give people a chance. That's why we have so many programs in our government system, is we want to give people a chance. But these people are vicious, and they are very, very dangerous, and some of them are even assassins. And uh, so this is very, very serious, and we have to stand up. And I think what's happening around the world is people are standing up. What happened in London? If you've never been to London, oh my God, London is a star fort. Okay, London is a star fort. The entire city, just like Berlin is a star fort and Paris is a star fort, the entire city. Um, Copenhagen is a star fort. And we need to get to the bottom of that kind of technology, what we lost there, right? But, so when you go to London, it's just an amazing city. The structures and everything, of course. And it is not the financial capital of the world. The financial capital of the world is New York, right? That's why they want it. That's why they're going after it. And they might even get it. They might get New York. They're that close. But what London is that it's the only place in the world where you can trade on the market um, in one day, in the same day. It's the only place because it's Greenwich time. And so it's a very important place. And to see um, the British people, and I'm talking about England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, they came out in droves. I think 3 million is the number. I'm not quite sure, but it was like humongous. It was humongous, to get their country back, to get free speech back. Um, it's very really something to see, and it's because we're very, very welcoming as Christians. But what happened is if you give a mouse a cookie, right? If you give a mouse a cookie, these are very ungrateful people that want to change the whole law system, something that made the country very successful. They want to turn into a trash dump. And I've been to countries that are trash dumps, and literally they're trash dumps. You're driving around and you're driving in a trash dump. Okay. I've been to those countries, and it's not nice. It's not a place, and it's very violent. It's very violent, and there's a lot of violence towards women, and there's a lot of violence against children. And we don't want that. We want a free, open society that is safe and pro children's safety and dignity, and pro woman safety and dignity, and pro man safety and dignity. And so it was around the world right now. Um, is I think this is just one big Civil War battle. I don't think it's going to be called a World War III. I think it's just a civil war everywhere you look. people fighting for their countries. And and that's where we're at here in our country. We're fighting for our country. And the enemy, they've always do a psyop, an asymmetric warfare tactic on us to divert our attention from an enemy. And I just want to tell you, and you can correct me where I'm wrong, but after 5 years of intense investigation into the Walmart mass shooting and our son's case and many cases that connect and the elections and everything, uh, the evidence points to a Mormon faction tied to cartel operating with foreign and domestic enemies. And that mean us harm, and violence, and mean the children harm and violence and insanity. And insanity, you can't, you know, I don't know if this is true. I heard it today and they were saying it's true, but they were saying in New York in daycares, they were having, I don't even want to repeat it. I don't even want to repeat it. I'm not going to. It's just insane. It's just insanity. It's inhumane with our children. And we do have to have um, a standard. And that's why we're fighting for the Stars and Stripes, that standard, the American Constitution. And, and some people, the enemies don't want it. They don't want it. Um, and so that's why we have to defend it. So that's why Richard defended it. He stood in the breach. He stood in the breach between these traffickers, these that mean us harm, and he did his duty. And the same thing with Charlie Kirk. He did his duty, and so we have to absolutely take up that standard. Um, we have to take up that standard and move forward. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing.